that level through which that particular energy flows. So that the energies that we use for communication have their own thicknesses. They have their own vibratory rates. And the problem is the corruption of a communications media does not mean that the individual will have a complete collapse of his system. It will mean only that that part of his system which is turned into that community medium will be damaged. He can go right on, go to church, and build up that one. For the meantime, however, the television is tearing down another energy field. Now, as you tear down these energy fields, which most people don't even know exist or believe in, you are also opening yourself to all kinds of sickness and also all kinds of moral energy decay. You are opening yourself to the corruptions of the life principles which are necessary to maintain you. The moment you damage a level of integrity in your own magnetism, that level of integrity becomes sick. The moment that becomes sick, part of the defense against exterior problems is reduced. The only way in which the individual can be really dominated by anything except himself is when he sells out his own energy and becomes negative to other things. He has to relinquish his own integrity before he can be damaged by outside forces. There isn't enough evil in all the world to destroy the integrity of one person. He must destroy it himself, or compromise it, or relax it, or be talked into something. But it has to be his own action. Therefore, the damages are, in a sense, not only moral, but are absolutely just in their actual integrities. And this is the way in which, apparently, as the Chinese noted, the universe creates the concept of right and wrong. This right and wrong is simply a matter of what builds up and what tears down the essential energies upon which life depends. So we have this problem in every field of life. We have it in the narcotics problem. We have it in a large part of commercialism. We have it wherever there is an attitude of putting profit in advance or over integrity. Wherever the individual makes this compromise, he immediately becomes a part of this particular problem. Now we'll take another phase of it. The person is looking with his eyes at something that he sees. He can be reading a book. He can be watching a television. He can be outside watching a horse race. He can be outside watching a golf ball. Whatever he is doing, his eyes are receiving energy. The energy is the magnetism which carries the image from the outside to his own inner optical centers. Is like the same thing as in the case of television. The golf ball definitely does not go in from the golf field into his eye. What goes into his eye is no golf ball, but it is a potential which will immediately be reactivated into the appearance of a golf ball. He will see it because it was changed into an energy formula, received into himself, and then reinterpreted again as what he has seen. And he will have no knowledge of anything except what he saw. Now this is becoming more and more obvious to us as we go further into the study of computers. This is all part of the process of things being changed from what they appear to be to the energy equivalents of themselves, and then restored to their forms in order to be perceptible to our various faculty perceptions. Therefore, again, everything becomes a matter of keeping the energy fields clean. And the only way they can be kept clean is by using them properly. Now, two people watching a golf game may see the same game. One is interested merely in the fact that it is a recreation. The other person may be very competitive, determined to win at all costs, and perfectly willing to cheat a little if it can win quicker. In the first place, the energy is perfectly okay. The vibrations are normal. But in the second, ulterior motives have entered into the playing of the game. And this is something that is troubling us throughout the sports world at the present time. Practically every sport has been commercialized. And by commercialization, we simply mean that it is no longer a sport, but a means of profit to some and loss to others. The moment this happens, the magnetic field is tainted. And from that time on, everyone who takes on the negative attitude damages himself. Now, 99 people may take it on and damage themselves, but 100th person who does not take it on does not damage themselves, simply because the others do. The idea that damage is contagious or actually infectious is only true if the individual who is the recipient is basically inconsistent with integrity themselves. There is no reason why anyone should recognize the fact that another person is capable of contributing to their delinquency. For it is said definitely that many may fall upon the right hand and many upon the left hand, but the just person shall not be moved. We are all, therefore, wrong when we say that civilization is destroying us. That is not true. What is destroying us is our acceptance into our own inner life of the shortcomings and mistakes that we associate with civilization. We get into a political tangle, and we start hating people, and we start guerrilla warfare. And guerrilla warfare is simply another negative use of energy. All of the energy of life has to be used properly. The moment it is abused, it becomes dangerous. So we go on a little further into something else, the arts. Every picture that we see has a magnetic field. The fact that it apparently is a work of art on canvas or carved in wood and stone does not affect the fact that any form, every form that is integrated is alive. And every form that is alive because of factors brought together in a certain specific pattern. In the case of a painting, it is the life in a canvas, the life in a frame, and the life in each twisted tube, and then the life of the artist. Everything, and the object of the picture, everything is made up of living elements. This idea that everything is dead, that can't run around, is a mistake. Everything is alive that can be seen. A chair is alive because it has a magnetic field, and this magnetic field changes with every chair. And yet there is always this problem of what is right and what is wrong. A good chair will always have a good magnetic field. A chair which we destroy by misuse will be destroyed, and we will suffer in our magnetic field for this act of destruction. Everyone is responsible for the destruction or the mistake that he causes. And in every case, the object of that mistake is either nullified or broken down or discredited in some way. So we go on, we take a little look around, and we see pictures. Well, we see the Venus de Milo, the armless wonder, and we wonder if it has any magnetic field. It certainly has. It has magnetic field, and we can revive that field in ourselves every time we think of it. If we've ever seen the picture, that picture's image or the statue itself will be with us as long as we live. It's what we do about it is not very much usually, but it's there. It's a fact. And if the picture is good, and the painting is good, and the carving is proper, these all add to the goodness of things. If an artist, however, starts a career of corrupt art, he is damaging his own magnetic field, and he is damaging the magnetic field of those who approve of what he has done and accept it. That is the reason why the censorship of integrity is important to art, music, and every other field, because it is part of the inevitable laws of life. Incidentally, therefore, where we find hard rock and these things which are becoming dangerous, our doctors tell us they are dangerous, our neurologists tell us they are dangerous, and all that, but no one has really managed to think why, except noise is unpleasant, or noise is dangerous to small children. The real damage is to the magnetic fields. The magnetic field of the small child can be so badly damaged that it can never really recover. Because if it happens before it has the age of consent, before it reaches up to the point where it chooses its own life, it has to be dependent upon someone. And the person upon whom it is dependent is also damaged if they do not demand integrity. Wherever the integrity is damaged, the one who causes the damage is the primary one who must pay. And if the individual causes his own damage, then he is the one that must pay for it. But the damage is not in the building or in the rock or in the stone. It is in the magnetic field. It is in that part of ourselves which we depend upon to maintain our various integrities. Today, neurosis and other emotional ailments are very frequent, and we have to give considerable thought, therefore, to the causes of these things. We look around us and we see a generation which has lost all sense of value because it doesn't even believe in value. It also has been corrupted by the example of a previous generation that has torn down most of the ideals and dreams with which the civilization has been built. The only way we can really get to this would be through a reorganization of our science of energies. We would have to have a full and scientific study of all of the energy fields that are involved in human life. We would have to therefore come to the conclusion that there is no problem in which these fields can be evaded. And as these fields are all essentially right, and the diversion of this to something else is wrong, we then have the basic value of virtue, the basic value of doing it right in the first place, or what we might call a reformation. A reformation is nothing but a reform of the use of available energy. Everything is energy. Atomic bombs are energy. The oil spill in Alaska is energy, waste energy, and abusive energy. All these things. And they all arise from something being wrong in the integrities of life. We have compromised principle by going away from the energy values. So we go back to the individual now, and we find him standing in the midst of his own magnetic field with his structure protected by the constant radiating force of outflowing energy, an outflowing energy that vitalizes everything from the center outward and nourishes the solar system, which is the human body, from the level of the sun, as in astronomy. The ancient astrologers believed that these energy fields originated in man himself, and that the source of all the energy fields in the human body is the heart, that this is the thing from which all else radiates. Therefore, the most dangerous of all corruption is the abuse of love, abuse of friendship, abuse of integrities, abuse of fidelities, and abuse of those things of benevolence, mercy, and compassion which are associated with the heart. As those energies remain firm, the heart radiating out to the circumference of the magnetic field of the body is completely protected. It will be practically impossible for anything to damage it in the area where it is functioning properly. There may be other functions which is not yet perfected, but if the individual is basically honorable, he will be able to perfect these without too much trouble. Actually, however, if these energies are wrong, if the individual begins to hate somebody, or an individual breaks a friendship from selfishness, or an individual breaks his friendship for advantage or gain, for physical or economic gain, immediately this defense is down. The individual who cheats has lowered his defenses against being cheated in his own turn. Everything, if he does an evil, he opens the way for an evil to be done to him, because he has destroyed the magnetic defenses. Now, you can't say where those defenses are or what exactly you understand them, but they are invisible, but they are very real. They are real, and they represent an actual flow of energy. Now, in the Middle Ages, we had magic come into this too, and we realized something that's seemingly coming back to us today, namely that inanimate objects have magnetic fields. Therefore, stones, trees, everything we can think of is subject to magnetic existence. And these magnetic existences are radiant. they convey